Hey, thanks for meeting at the Apple. I'm Vito Calisi. It's Jonathan Barron. You can follow us on Twitter at Vito F. Calisi, at JMB9191. And let's just be honest. That was not a chill weekend.
No, it was bad. It was really bad. And we're not here to tell you otherwise.
And not only were the results not good, but 10 o'clock games, boo.
I mean, I almost look at it like, did it really even happen if it's happening up in the Pacific Northwest and it's 10 p.m. and you're probably not watching the whole thing?
Oh, I watched.
Yeah, I know a lot of people did, and that's because Mets fans are the best fans in the world. But I think Carlos Mendoza said it best in the postgame on Sunday. The Mariners executed in every facet of the game, and they were just the better team. That's a 3-day weekend, and I think that if you've been paying close attention to baseball, and this has really been a crazy baseball season.
Yeah.
I think that this has been a great year for the sport. So many markets are involved in the races that are just going to be crazy as we come down the stretch here. Things can change quickly in this sport. I mean, you think about where the Yankees were, not to talk too much about the Yankees, but where they were right after the Mets swept them, and that down feeling that they and their fans all had. And now they're tied atop the American League East. They have 70 wins. You look at the Atlanta Braves, who split a series here a couple weeks ago with the Mets, a 4-game set. Things were fine for the Braves. It seemed like they were probably a lock to be a playoff team. And I mean, you feel bad about yourself as a Met fan right now, coming off of what happened in Seattle. Imagine being a Brave fan when you have that huge lead late in the game in Colorado on Sunday, and your bullpen lets that one get away. You also lose on Friday night as well. You lose 2 of 3. So things change quickly in this sport.
Mets fans were ready to give up for a second after losing 1 game in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, that came after
It came after a rough LA series.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, look at the Braves. Like you just said.
Yeah.
They lost 2 out of 3, and one of them was a game that they 100% should have won.
Look at the Phillies. I mean, they still have an 8-game lead in the division, but it was double that not too long ago.
Can we talk about how the Angels have played since then?
The Angels took 2 of 3, as you mentioned on our last episode in the Bronx. And they went to D.C. and they had a good weekend. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. The second half of the season, there are those teams that were kind of pronounced dead in the first half and mathematically are probably not going to mount some crazy comeback. But there are teams that in the second half of the season that might be out of it come alive from the dead.
Look at the Marlins.
Look at the Marlins. They pose problems for teams that are in the race. And then those are the teams when you're trying to prognosticate for the next season, you could take a little bit of this could be an interesting team right here moving into 2025 and beyond. So
look at the Cubs in 21 when
look at the Cubs right now. They're 3 games back all of a sudden in the wild card race.
I'm saying your point exactly. You're saying those teams that become spoilers when they're already out of it towards the end of the season. Look at the Cubs in 21 when the Mets and I'm talking 22. Sorry, you're right.
When they swept the Mets at Citi Field in September.
And then the next year they were good last year. And then this year that they're on the way, they're still in the race. It's just like you said, those teams that play spoilers. I mean, look at the Mets last year. The Mets were playing some interesting baseball in the second half. They were winning some. They made it a little interesting towards the end. I mean, not anything serious, but there was a point right before the All-Star break where you were like, oh, they could be mounting something together.
Yeah.
And then even towards the end, you were like, oh, I mean, if every single thing in the world goes right, but they were definitely spoiling games for good teams last year.
Yeah, look, I think that road trip, everyone needed to just get on the plane and get home. It was 4-6. Is that what we wanted before the trip started? No. Is it the biggest disaster in the world? Look, this was not 3-9. 3-9, that doesn't add up. This was not 3-7. It was, they won the game in St. Louis.
Yeah.
They won the season series from the Cardinals. Another tiebreaker secured. And I think that's that. You come back and you open up a 9-game homestand. And as you guys know, we've talked about the only 9 games at home in the month of August, starting with 3 against the Athletics and 3 against the Marlins. But I'll tell you this, the Athletics are not a pushover. They're absolutely not. They have Brent Rooker, who's been one of the most prolific power hitters in baseball, Shea Langoliers. This is a team that, if you don't take them seriously, will give you a tough time.
And this is imagine being on the Athletics. Imagine what you've been through as an Athletics player, how angry you might be. Being forced to play in a minor league baseball stadium, not knowing what your future is going to be, being counted out of everything, maybe not loving your ownership. You're playing for that team and you want to win as many games as you can because, like you said, you feel like your own team has given up on you. They're not coming to New York to lose.
No, they're not. This is how I would summarize.
Can we also just real quick talk about, we've said this before, look, bad luck is a part of baseball.
Yeah.
But there was some terrible luck in the last few days as far as balls put into play went.
Of course.
I mean, last night, that ball that was just magically caught, like, that was just...
While Victor Robles is doing an interview.
Like, that was insane to watch. Ryan McMahon looks like the greatest third baseman of all time.
Yeah. I think the best way to put
that was Rocky series, obviously, but I'm just saying over this trip, like the Mets just played, every team just all of a sudden had angels on the outfield on their side.
Yeah.
It was.
Let's put a capper on it this way.
A capper?
A capper. This series felt like, I don't want to say a rock bottom kind of moment, but it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown, and it's the kind of series that you pick yourself up. The Mets get on the plane, they fly home, off day Monday. It feels like it doesn't get much worse than what we witnessed in Seattle, right? Like you can't get beat much well-roundedly than the Mets just did. And the Mariners are a good ball club. The Mariners have invested in that team. That's a tough place to play. Great fans, tough ballpark to hit home runs in.
The series. It's like that team is a team that, like, if they weren't playing the Mets, you'd be rooting for them.
Yeah, 100%. I love the City Connects. Yada yada yada.
A lot of people don't.
Well, those people are wrong.
I like them too.
They're nice. All that just happened, 4-6 on the road trip. You take a look at a freeze moment in time. For all that went wrong on the road trip, 4-6, swept over the weekend. The Mets are coming home just half a game out of that wild card spot against the Braves. It could be a lot worse than what the situation the Mets are looking at is currently. Luckily, the Braves have had their stumbles. Luckily, the Phillies have had their stumbles. If you want to take a look and say, hey, we still have 6 games with the Phillies, if we could knock that lead down to 4 or 5 going into those, you never know. We've seen it before. The situation, all things considered, is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And again, I'll quote Aaron Boone. I'll do it every damn episode. It's all in front of the Mets. It is.
We still have, look, Reed Garrett came back, looked really good in his 1 inning. And we got Starling Marte on the men coming back soon. And this is a guy we've talked about before. Starling Marte, when Starling Marte is healthy, Starling Marte is the heart and soul of this team.
He is a huge part of this offense, 100%. The Mets are going to have to figure out how they'll get him into the lineup. Of course, he probably won't play outfield every day, especially you want to keep the knee healthy. So that'll be interesting to see how the Mets handle it. But yeah, you're right. And we talked about that right before the All-Star break, that Starling Marte's return would be a big part of what the Mets have in the second half. And if they can get him back here in the next week or so, week to 10 days, then you have him back healthy for this huge road trip that the Mets are looking at following the 9-game homestand.
In 22, Starling Marte went down towards the end of the year. And it was that was dramatic. That made a gigantic difference. He came back for the playoffs. But imagine having Starling Marte for that run at the end of the year.
Yeah, especially where he was hitting. He was the number 2 hitter all year in 2022. He was a great 2 hitter in 2022. And early September, he gets hit by the Mitch Keller pitch. And it, like you said, it really derailed what the Mets had going on.
And let me ask you a question about the season overall. If you had to look through some lenses.
Yeah.
What would you rather? Would you rather have a season like 22, where that team started off in a rocket ship, and then the first time that they faced adversity and they started losing games, it kind of didn't pick up from there? Or would you rather a season like this, where this team saw rock bottom early on, they came back, and now, like, I still have hope. Like, it's not like this isn't a team that I'm watching thinking like, oh my God, like what's going to happen now? I've seen them come back from much worse.
100%. I mean, look, they're not going to be held to 1 run over a 3-game series. And like, you got to tip your cap to the Mariners and their pitching. We talked about Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, and Luis Castillo. I don't know if you remember, like we were kind of past that, and I said, nah, I want to go back to talk about these pitching matchups, because like if there's one thing the Mariners boast, it is really good young pitching. You could add Brian Wu to that equation, and George Kirby, local boy. That's their bread and butter is that starting pitching. So the Mets got beat by 3 really, really good starters, but the Mets are not going to be held to 1 run over the course of a 3-game series. Like, this is just the ebbs and flows of a baseball season. The last time we had to try to talk everyone off the ledge about the Mets with runners in scoring position, and 186 since July 13th. Well, what happened? The Mets went, 12 for 30 in the Rockies series with Risk. Like, they're probably going to explode offensively on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and probably carry that into the weekend as well. And we will forget about a really, really rough series in Seattle. But like you said, this 2024 Mets team has faced adversity numerous times and picked themselves up off the mat and have been able to put themselves back in a position of power. And there's no reason to believe that they can't do that again. I mean, people say, oh, it's the Athletics and the Marlins that are coming in, and then Baltimore is this mighty power. I mean, Baltimore's had a great season, and they've got a lot of talent in that lineup, but they've also stumbled on some hard times.
Yeah.
So, it's just, to quote David Stearns, Vito, it's just win tonight. That's the only way you can look at it. The Mets didn't win any of the 3 games in Seattle. Luckily, that series was played August 9th to 11th, not October 9th to 11th. The Mets come back home, and you move on, you move forward. There's still a really talented team, and I like the fact that they've been able to take a punch and respond. That's an important characteristic of a baseball club, especially over 162 and especially over the kind of just insane season that we've seen, not just with the Mets, but around the league. So many stories, so many teams overcoming adversity and coming back from big deficits to get back to where they are. The Mariners, I said this, they were 10 games up in the division, and it all went away like that.
Yeah.
And now look at that. Now look at them.
Now, you the fan at home, you the Mets fan, you're sitting at home this week. You have tickets to a game this week, right? Maybe you got the back to school special. Maybe you have the pass for the 9-game homestand. But you're at home right now, and you're thinking to yourself, what can I do at the ballpark this week? Because you know what I think the team needs? They need their rally cry of the month. Somebody at home.
I was going to say.
Somebody at home needs to bring something to the table this week.
I mean, it's got to be organic.
It's got to be organic.
It's got to be organic.
It's got to be organic, but something's got to happen. Like, there's got to be something happening this week. We can't go the month of August without some fan doing something at the ballpark.
You know what we need? We need to get that Australian breakdancer. Dude, I've been obsessed with that ever since.
Oh, dude, that was what? And
what happened?
Do you know she beat like a competition of other Australian dancers to get that?
Like she was the best of what they pooled together.
And I saw people tweeting about this. They were like, trust me, I saw the competition. She was the best.
She was the best?
She was the best that Australia had to offer.
What, have a bunch of kangaroos breakdancing?
Kangaroos would have been better, man. Kangaroos could bounce on their tail and stuff.
I bet you there might be a little breakdancing at Citi Field this week.
You should get her with the Queen's crew.
I don't know if we can get her. That's a lengthy plane ride.
Hey man, maybe she's coming to the States for a little bit to like revel in her new fame.
I mean, look, there are a lot of influencers who, kind of come out of nowhere. That could be something.
What'd you think of the Tom Cruise stuff in the closing ceremony?
You think I watched the closing ceremony?
Did you not see it on Twitter? Tom Cruise jumped off the top of a ceiling, rappelled down, got on a motorcycle with the Olympic flag, and
is that for LA? Transitioning to LA?
He drove it through the streets of Paris, got on a jet with the motorcycle, brought it to LA, and then handed it off where the Hollywood sign had the Olympic rings. And then
I didn't see that. I will say, though, I was pretty mum on the Olympics.
I turned on the closing ceremony last night when a certain bad mood took over me.
The Olympics were a lot of fun. I mean, just like seeing all the tweets and the stories.
And you were Mr.
I know. This is why I'm admitting
you were Mr. Anti-Olympic.
I didn't watch a lot of it. I'm not going to say that I did, but I know that the ratings were through the roof. And it was a really, really good Summer Olympics. I'm looking forward to best on best hockey in the upcoming Winter Games.
Yeah.
Because Team USA can beat Canada. You heard that, friends to the north. We have a squad. So I'm looking forward to that.
And you know what I'm looking forward to? Next Olympic, baseball's back because it's in LA.
Yeah, I know. But that means breakdancing goes away.
Yeah, breakdancing. Unless they're like, hey, you know what, LA, we like breakdancing too.
They do, but I don't think that. But hey, I mean, great viral moments came from it, so that was cool.
So that the Olympics was fun, man. The Olympics is always a good time. The races are great. Some really good stories. They do some really good storytelling packages. But look, let's put this road trip in our rear view. Let's focus on the future. Mets have a very important series at home, and then the pivotal moment of the year is actually going to be this next road trip, which is back to the West Coast.
Probably. I mean, right now
you gotta play well against the Diamondbacks and the Padres.
Yeah.
That's just
look, if the Mets are interested in hosting wild card games, then they'll have to do really well on that trip. Both of those teams.
Yeah, but you need to also get wins against them because you don't want this. You
can't lose games in general.
You don't want the division to get away. I mean, not the division. You don't want the two. There's only going to be the way the Diamondbacks and the Padres are playing. If they keep playing at this rate, there's only going to be one spot that
correct,
people are
and it's probably going to be between the Mets and the Braves and the Cubs and the Cardinals and the Giants are 1.5 games back.
Because the Giants did this weird thing where they're like, we're selling or we're not selling. Like, what are we doing?
Well, they held on to Blake Snell.
Yeah,
and I think that people were mad that couple teams didn't get Blake Snell.
But that's the whole point of the expansion.
Well, it's because they weren't selling Blake Snell.
And what I also find funny is that fans who complain about the expanded playoff format all say, it's like the 162 game season means nothing. I feel like this season is proving the 162 game season means everything.
Oh, 100%. No, it does. It's incredible, but I mean,
and teams not selling is what we wanted. Did you want to see every single team selling off pieces and parts, not being in it?
well, that's why the prices were so crazy, because it was supply and demand.
This is great for
There
baseball.
were only a few teams that were actually just waving a white flag.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that is going to be a massive road trip. And then the Mets have a 3-game series in late September against the Braves.
Yeah, they do. And the Phillies.
And, well, they have 6 with the
And the
Phillies, and
Brewers.
then the Brewers is where they end the season. So,
And the Brewers could be, we talked about this already, they could play the Brewers for 3 games
and then stay there
and then stay there
for
and
a
play
wild
them
card
again.
series.
Yeah.
The Jets did that with the Raiders back in, I think it was 01 or 02. The Jets had a week, it was week 16 back in the day. John Hall made a kick at the final gun, kicked the Jets into the playoffs, and it got them a date with the Oakland Raiders, and it didn't go well.
Speaking of football,
Damn you, Rich Gannon.
reply to us in the tweets, reply to us in the comments. We were talking about this. We haven't really explored it more, but we were wondering if any listeners of the show would be interested in doing a fantasy football league.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Well, no, I mean, some perks, right?
Yeah, we have to talk about it more, but we were wondering if any of the listeners would be interested in a fantasy football league. So tweeted us at Vito F. Khaleesi or at JMB9191. Let us know if that's something you'd be down to do, to join a fantasy football league with us and, just have something to talk about in the offseason. But there's some exciting stuff going on at Citi Field this week, right?
Citi Field's going to be a buzz. My phone's buzzing right now.
Citi Field's going to be Liddy Field, dude.
We got a lot to plan. It's going to be good. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
All right, well, one of the main things, and forgive me, I will be using my paper here to talk about this because I don't want to.
No problem.
Mets have a brand new loyalty program called Mets Connect. And it's going to give fans points for all kinds of activities such as buying and scanning tickets, buying food in March, and playing games on the ballpark app and more. I love earning points for everything. This is just another chance to earn points for something you're already doing. You're going to Mets games. You want to be at the ballpark. You want to eat while you're here. And it's really exciting. And fans can sign up for free through the ballpark app or by visiting MetsConnect.com. And by earning points and moving up the program tiers, fans will be able to unlock free ticket and concession benefits, as well as redeem points for a variety of rewards ranging from VIP access to events, exclusive ballpark experiences, and a video appearance from the beloved Mr. and Mrs. Met, among other prizes. So like I said, you're earning points for stuff you were already doing, and that launches now. Like, you can go sign up right now, and you can have those points going for this homestand.
Yeah. The biggest thing, guys, when you're at the stadium this week, or whenever your next visit to Citi Field is, ask somebody. This is for the fans. This program is because we appreciate the greatest fans in the world, and we want to give back to you guys. So if you're online at a concession stand, like, you could take that purchase and earn points, but if you don't know exactly how to go about doing so, ask someone around you. If you see someone with this badge, ask them, flag them. If they don't know, they will find the answer. But this is for you guys. The Mets appreciate the fans. You guys are awesome. We appreciate the fans for listening and interacting with us on Twitter. And this is really one of the ways that we could say thank you for being so loyal and just the best. So it's an awesome program.
It's MetsConnect.com, or it is through the ballpark app. I mean, the ballpark app is... that's everything.
That's the Bible for if you're in the stadium, the ballpark app's where it's all at.
I love using the ballpark app, and I'm not just saying. I know that sounds like corporate chill speak, but
this guy, just look at him. This is the corporate shill McGee right here.
Sign up, get earning points on this homestand, and there's some other stuff going on while the Mets are in town. One of those things is OMG weekend.
OMG weekend, that's right. We'll be giving away the T-shirt, which is really cool.
That's first 15,000 fans on Saturday.
On Saturday against
and then
the Marlins.
With purchase of a special ticket,
yes,
you can get an OMG foam finger.
Yes, but you have to purchase the ticket. That is not a gate giveaway. That is a special deal, a package deal, I'd say.
Yes.
So, that's a ton of fun. We got Fanatics Fest coming up in New York City this week. So if you want to go over there and then come over to the game, check out what's going on with Fanatics Fest. Double dip, hop on the 7. That's going to be awesome.
I mean, it's 7 to 7. I mean, you're on the first stop of the 7, you're on to the second, the last stop. And it's great. And also, it's great to get on I love getting on the Hudson Yards 7 stop because you get a seat.
Oh, yeah, you're the first one on.
It's the first one. Yeah. But I'm going to give you a warning, fans. When you're getting on that Hudson Yards 7 stop, that escalator is steep, so just be prepared.
Hang on to the railings. I've been on the one at 42nd Street.
42nd is fine.
Yeah.
But the Hudson Yards subway, dude.
No, I've never been on that one.
Oh, dude, you literally feel like you're going straight down. Have you been on the NQR on the new 2nd Avenue line? Any of those on like the Upper East Side?
This is a New Jersey guy turned Long Island guy.
Okay, so all the new stuff. My point is the subway stations built in the last few years, they all have these like insane.
I know Grand Central had something like that.
There's
I
one.
think. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
one that is actually to the 7.
Yeah.
And it's like a narrow line
Yep,
that you're going
that's the one
down.
I'm familiar with. Yep.
Yeah, but the Hudson Yards, but it's great. I mean, you get a seat, you come right to Citi Field, you get on that 7 Express, baby, and you're having a good weekend. And then football jersey on Sunday,
Oh yeah.
and that's a gate giveaway.
Football's in full swing.
Football, baby. I mean, let's
But
go.
the Jets and Giants at that time will have played 2 preseason games by the time we get to that.
Yeah,
So and the football jersey's sweet.
it is.
Yeah.
A little gator like.
There's a lot of Gators on the Mets. So
I know.
hey,
A lot of gators in the player development system too, which
Makes
we will
sense.
get to in a second.
Makes sense.
And lastly, fireworks. John's baby on Friday.
that's right. And this is a special one. We got the your favorite New York Mets players pick the songs that will be playing during the fireworks show. So really excited for that. It's a great playlist. You guys will enjoy it a lot. And you'll hear the music that your favorite guys picked. And I think it's a cool way to bring the fans and the players close together for everyone to enjoy the musical playlist that was curated by the Mets players. So nice little way of doing stuff.
Are you going to point out whose song is whose when it's happening?
Yep. We'll have we'll have the name and the song title on the ribbons as it plays.
I love that.
Yep.
It's fun. It's like you're at a party and the Mets made your playlist.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, before we get out of here, we did want to do some prospect talk with you. We're going to call this segment Future of Flushing based on another podcast that John and I happen to host. And we will be doing more Future of Flushing. It's just been a busy few weeks, guys. I was in Greece. We had a lot to catch up on. But we wanted to give a shout out to 5 different Mets prospects. One of those being Joshua Cornielli, who we have had the pleasure to meet a few times. He was part of that Cyclones no-hitter group that we interviewed. And since Joshua got promoted to Binghamton, he's faced 10 batters, John. He's got 4 strikeouts, only a single walk, giving up 0 earned runs.
Also, just a great guy and a very smart guy as well. So
And a close friend of Francisco Alvarez. He's known him for a long time. They train together in the offseason. And something we've seen in this system is that these guys get close as they come up together. And those vibes you're seeing right now in this clubhouse, that's the kind of stuff that you build from the ground up.
100%. Mike Vassell, friend of Future of Flushing. He's really been good. I know we talked about him the last Future of Flushing we did. It's been a month and a half, 2 months now that Mike's been great. 3.38 ERA, 32 innings, 26 strikeouts, just 8 walks last year in Binghamton before he was promoted to AAA Syracuse. That was his calling card. He walked absolutely nobody. You get to AAA, that ABS system messes with you. You have to be pinpoint perfect. It really changes a pitcher's psyche. It was about this time, a little bit over a year ago now, that Mike was promoted to AAA. It was about this time where he took the no-hitter into the 9th inning. So he's found success at the AAA level, and it's great to see from a guy who could be a factor here. If not in 2024 for the Mets, definitely next season at some point.
And before we move on to our next player on this list, one guy I just want to give a mention because you brought up that transition to AAA is pretty tough. Brandon Sproat.
Yes.
We just want to give him a quick shout out because you might look at the box score, see the earned runs get given up, see the outing, and think, oh no, like what happened? Truth is, that was 1 inning in an otherwise great start.
Against a really good Worcester Sox, Woo Sox team as well. Yeah, the Woo Sox. So, like you said, all the damage came in 1 inning. The surrounding innings, he was pretty dominant.
Yeah.
So, excited to see his next start, how he bounces back, what he learned from that outing. That's what it's all about. We saw that with Blade Tidwell last year. Every time he had an outing where it wasn't the best, and we talked with Blade about this, and he told us he learned and he applied what he learned from the previous outing to his next outing and grew as a pitcher and had success. So really excited to see Brandon Sproat's second time out in AAA. There was a lot of encouraging signs from that first start, despite what the box score might see. No. It was a really good outing for Brandon Sproat.
Think outside the box.
Outside the box.
Carson Benj, Mets first round draft pick. He's in the Bridge League, which is just a way for recent draftees to get a first taste of that pro ball. Carson Benj collected 2 hits in that debut, including a 99-mile-per-hour single and a 102-mile-per-hour double. So just exit velocity is just off the charts to start in that Bridge League.
I mean, this is a guy who he hits the ball hard. He's fast. He fields center field incredibly well. He's a good enough athlete that he could pitch at a high level, at the collegiate level. He hits the ball hard. He hits the ball far. He's got a really, really menacing left-handed swing. There's a player that in my head, when I first saw his swing, thought of. I don't want to say that name because I feel like sometimes, especially a player this young who's in the bridge league now, which is a new thing.
Did you not say it on the podcast?
No, I don't think so. Did I?
I feel like you did because we said like, look,
Who was it?
I don't remember, but I feel like we had the whole
Darryl
conversation.
Strawberry.
Yeah, I think you did because we did a whole thing about how like, look, like comps might sound outrageous, but it's the easiest way to explain to somebody who doesn't know this person.
With the leg kick, I don't know. He just, you know, you watch some of his college highlights. I was getting Darryl Strawberry vibes.
Nice.
You know, I mean, he's Aura 1000.
We have a Darryl Strawberry bobblehead right there.
Carson Banjaskibity.
John, you get to trend so. John kept like.
Okay, if that's 5 months ago, what's now? What's happening right now? What's the trend right now? Tell me.
I mean, right now we've had there's a bunch of stuff. Some stuff we can't talk about, but a few weeks. I mean, like, give me my money has been a big thing.
Yeah,
lately.
I know, but
I mean, look, he's a Mets fan.
I know.
I texted a few people about it. Responses from some, not from the others, but I'm working on. I might have a mutual friend with him that I'm trying to get in contact with.
That would be Skibbity. All right, go on.
But look, let's not talk about trends. Let's talk about some more Mets prospects.
Yeah.
Boston Berra over the last month, slashing 364, 432, 442. He's got 27 hits and 77 at bats, all the while getting 10 walks.
432. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Our friend Ernest Dove keeps calling him Boston Jeff McNeil Barrow, just a contact machine with a great eye at the plate. Still very young. Has a lot of maturing to do physically, emotionally, very mature. But I say that he's only going to get bigger and stronger as he progresses. So there's a lot of promise and a lot of excitement around Boston Barrow.
Nick Morabito, a guy that we've described as instant offense, slashing 279, 347, and 326. And when we talk about that instant offense, that's those 12 stolen bases over the last month with 8 walks.
And he actually just set the Brooklyn Cyclones season single steal record. So Nick Morabito etching his name in the Cyclones history books. I think that you said it perfectly. Instant offense, when he gets on base, he's a menace. He is in that same vein as Jet Williams and Luis Angel Acuna. So the Mets have a couple of guys who are just really, really great athletes. And once they get on base, it's game over. And he also could play all 3 outfield positions, which is great. You'll have to see that, including center field, and he plays it well. He's got a really good arm. So Nick Morabito, a very, very exciting prospect who's having a great season with the Brooklyn Cyclones.
Yeah, so those are just 5 guys we decided to highlight on this episode. We'll be doing more prospect talk throughout the rest of the season, just because it's what you guys want to hear. You want to know what's going on in the system, and it's always interesting to see what people are doing. I mean, look, it's hard to keep track of the entire minor leagues. There's 5 different levels or 6 different levels with
you have DSL. Giovanni Rodriguez is having a big August.
Yeah,
there's a ton of excitement up and down. Just a lot of talent,
and a lot of talent outside of the top 30 prospects.
Team.
Like there's this system has guys from top to bottom that are just exciting to
watch.
Matt
Rudick came in the game on Sunday for Starling Marte, hit a big home run.
Yeah,
Luke Ritter continues to mash, leads the International League in home runs and RBI.
So just look at home, keep an eye on those box scores, use the MILB app, pop around. You know, when you're watching a Mets game in the commercial break, go to that MILB app and just look at what some of the Mets minor leaguers doing. It's fun to keep up with. Well, Mets fans, come to the ballpark this week. We need to see some wins.
Yeah.
And we need to see some energy from the fans.
Which we will.
You know what? I want to complain about something. I saw a comment.
Yeah,
I saw a comment.
Yeah, I know you did.
I saw a comment that somebody said, stop begging us to come to games. I want to say something. The whole reason we pushed it was we literally were pushing an amazing ticket deal. He said, if you want to talk about the games, give us lower ticket prices. And we literally handed him something that was about a deal for tickets.
An incredible deal, by the way. $45 for all 9 games. $90 to sit downstairs for all 9 games. Can't beat that.
And what more can we do than just give you that information and say, do with this what you'd want?
Look, we're not begging anyone to come.
No, we're saying we just want to see people here because we want the energy to be.
But also, we want you guys to be a part of a really incredible environment, which is what is going to be at Citi Field this week. And I said this last episode, you want those memories. You want to be there for that next incredible Met memory. The last 2 home Friday night games we've had have been just, I don't even know what the word is. Bananas, I guess. I don't know what it's always a fun time at Citi Field. You never know what to expect when you're here. I'm
not going to ask why I'm asking, but I'm just going to ask a question.
Yeah.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Was there a little bit of extra?
This upcoming Friday?
Upcoming Friday. Is there extra gas in the tank?
There's always extra gas in the tank.
Nice.
I mean, there's, yeah. It's,
Because if you were here last,
Guys, we want to share these moments with you. Most importantly, like Vito and I, we're around the stadium. We love hearing from you guys. When you're here, let us know. Like, this is what it's all about. Half a game out, wild card race, fighting for a playoff spot, 9-game homestand, final push of summer, because the summer just goes like that. Once July 4th hits, it's over.
once John's birthday's here, it's back to school.
Back
Summer's
to school.
over.
Like, we're going to have so much fun on this homestand. I promise you. There's going to be so much fun had at Citi Field the next 9 days. I can't wait to get started.
I'm pumped, dude. I can't wait for tomorrow. I already told my wife, I said, look, Mets are only home for 9 games this month. I'm staying for every single game just because I'm like, I was explaining to her, I was like, honey, you have not, as we've been together, I'm like, you've not seen, every season hasn't been like big push at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm watching games that matter and I'm fired up right now. I want to be at all these games.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're celebrating Queens culture. Thursday, we got a getaway day game. Friday, fireworks, as you mentioned.
My buddy Gabe is coming on Thursday.
Gabe's coming on Thursday.
And Gabe's coming from North Carolina on Thursday.
Saturday, 4 o'clock game against the Marlins. We got a noon start on Sunday.
And you know what's a great Saturday day game activity?
What?
You go to a 4 o'clock game, right? You know what you do at 7 o'clock? You go over across the street. You go to Queens Night Market.
There you go.
It's free to get in, and it's tons of food, really cheap. It's great vibes. You can have a few beers. That's a freaking amazing Saturday, and I almost cursed, but I didn't.
Yeah. So, guys, just, the ups and downs, it's part of the journey. It's part of the journey. Hey, we text, we're like, well, now what do we do? But then it just, you let the dust settle, you let a little time go by, and here we are. Here we are. It's right in front of us.
This is a glass half full podcast, but trust us, we both grew up Mets fans. We both love this team.
Yeah.
When those games are happening, our reactions aren't the best in the moment all the time. Would you say that? Would you agree?
Yeah.
In the moment? In the heat of the moment?
It's all about taking it in stride and appreciating what you got. I think that's a life lesson. I think that's a baseball fandom lesson. Things could be a lot worse than they are right now after a bad weekend in Seattle. And here we go. Opportunity awaits. Let's support the guys. Let's make some noise. Let's have fun, because that's what it's all about. And follow us on Twitter at Vito F. Khaleesi, at JMB9191. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you ever got any questions, throw it up on us at Twitter. We'll answer them. You can follow this podcast on Apple, Spotify. You could ask Vito anything. He'll answer any question. I don't know about that. It doesn't matter what it is. That's not true. YouTube.com, Mets official page. We're available there. But just, subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends. Meet us at the Apple, and we'll see you here next time. Skibbity.